Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again. And here it is. Here's my 24-hour review of the Huawei Enjoy Max. Adequately enjoyable. And I think that line really sums up my first 24 hours with this phone. I think it's a very nice phone, and it does have some pretty solid points about it, but I will mention some things that kind of make me think it's a good recommendation, but not a great recommendation. So let's jump right into it first. Right here, what's inside the box? And so just to show you guys again, I did get the 4GB 128 storage version. Let's open the box here. Just a little plastic the phone came in. This is the China version of the phone, guys. And as I mentioned yesterday, I got this phone for around 1,800 Hong Kong dollars, so just over 230 US. This is the little jelly case that comes with the phone there, TPU case. Some typical books. Put that stuff to the side there. And there's your classic SIM ejector tool. And here we see the the micro USB charger, and then the Huawei quick charge in China version here. And unfortunately, there were no headphones in the box. What's up with that, Huawei? Be consistent, man. That is a thumbs down from me right there. And now talking about the design of this phone. So the major thing about this phone really is that faux leather back. This phone is pretty much very similar to the Honor 8X Max that I reviewed previously. You see here the sides are aluminum. There are these kind of slightly ugly antenna bands there, but you see the buttons, they're all in black. There is a 3.5mm headphone jack, and the there is the Huawei name on the front there, which I'm not a huge fan of. The teardrop notch is exactly the same as on the 8X Max, but the main difference, right, is this faux leather back, which also happens to be the most slippery back I've ever used on a phone. I don't know if I like this faux leather back actually upon second thought, but it is something unique and a little bit refreshing a change than typical glass backs, so not a terrible design overall. Now let's talk about a comparison here, and this is a comparison between the other big phones I got, and we see here the Mi Max 3 and the Mate 20X. Now obviously the Mate 20X is in a completely different price point than these other two phones, but let's kind of have a look first at the Mi Max 3, because that is very much more the fair comparison right here. And you see the Mi Max 3 is definitely a little bit chunkier. I think from the sides it doesn't look as thick though, but I kind of like the build quality of the Mi Max 3, still better overall. And despite you see here though, now compared to the Mate 20X, it is just in another league right here. And I think of these three phones, you see there the notch, the water droplet on the Mate 20X is significantly smaller. I still think the Mi Max 3 and the Mate 20X are just better designs overall. This phone isn't a terrible design, but I think just really comparing those three phones right there, I would have to put them in that order: Mate 20X, Mi Max 3, and then this Enjoy Max. Now talking about that display, we have a 7.12-inch Full HD display. Obviously the teardrop notch is going to eat into it right there. You have an 83% according to Keymobile screen to body ratio and 350 ppi. Now look at that eye comfort color. It is nasty. I don't know what they were thinking with that. And the warm kind of shade here doesn't look great, so I'm going to leave it on default overall. I think it's probably the best option here to consider. And also showing you here, the notch is so much deeper on this phone, and so when you hide the notch, you really lose a lot of that display. I don't like that at all. The other thing I don't like is you see here when you maximize the YouTube playback on this phone, that's about as big as it goes, and it's not actually even. So there's like a lot more kind of wasted screen on one side versus on the kind of the bottom bezel there. And so it makes for kind of a less than enjoyable viewing experience, but it's still not bad. I mean, the colors are good. viewing angles are good. You have dual speakers on this phone, guys, so it actually will be reviewing that in a second. And now talking about CDM Widevine, it's wow L3, guys. What would you expect from a China ROM phone? And that's going to be very typical of these phones right here. But you saw in the previous video the Y9 did have L1, so let's hope they will update this soon. Now looking at Geekbench here, talking about performance, this phone has the Snapdragon 660 processor, 4 GB of RAM, so it will perform better than the previous Honor 8X Max you see there with a 1400 single core and multi-core in the 5000 range. So pretty solid CPU performance overall. And quick word on battery life here. I will be sharing my full results in a later video, but so far with this 5000 milliampere battery, I am not expecting this phone to have any issues whatsoever. It's going to be great battery life on this phone, similar to the 8X Max previously, the Honor 8X Max, which did great in battery life. Jumping right into GPU and gaming on Asphalt 9. This phone performed solidly, and I think it actually performed even better than the Mi Max 3. You see here, the Snapdragon 660 is no slouch. It is still one of the best mid-range chip performers out there, and I didn't notice any issues whatsoever playing this game. The phone never got warm. The faux leather back will help for you not feeling any type of heat emanating from this phone whatsoever. So great gaming performance with that Adreno 512 right there. And now the speaker test. Let's have a listen. Final verdict on the speaker test. Pretty impressive results on this Enjoy Max. It did better than the Mi Max 3. The sounds were punchy, really vibrant, and it just sounded better. So great work here, Huawei. And now going right into the camera, this final section here, and I haven't taken too many shots with this phone just yet, but looking through here, the camera app, you see you get full HD video up to 30 frames per second, but the resolution is stuck at 12 megapixels for the dual rear shooter here. Now taking a quick shot here of Pinocchio, look at the results. It's decent, but not great. I'd give it like a 50% here. It's about an average photo there. Looking at the photo of the sex shop you see here, it actually did a really good job in that photo, but a lot of these other shots I've just taken, you see, are a little overexposed and lack some focus. Beauty mode is very much on this phone, and I took off beauty mode for this selfie there, and you see here in low light, it is not so great, and I think that f2.2 rear shooter there is not doing the best job. Now what is that? This is one of my classic Macintosh computers. I do have a little sort of a collection. If you want to see more of those, let me know. But looking here, that's probably the best shot this has taken so far of Pinocchio there. Not bad overall. And so the final verdict here on this phone, it's a solid phone, but it's nothing too impressive to really hardly recommend. I think the phone is, reminding me of the Honor 8X Max. And there was a reason why I didn't love that phone. I think the kind of design, the teardrop notch that is just a little bit deeper than I would like. The display quality isn't the best. This one doesn't have the light bleed issues I did have, but I think the major difference here is that Snapdragon 660 performance. So if you want to get a big size phone with that Snapdragon 660, this may be a good option for the price right here. But you will also want to consider the Mi Max 3, which is, I still think, the best budget option phone out there. And hey, if you got the cash, there's always the Mate 20X for you to consider as well. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, give me that thumbs up. If you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see or comparisons with this phone. If you want to see that big comparison of the big phone comparison, let me know as well. And so that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Y'all have a good one.